arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bienvenidos todos al juego de romper la cuarta pared.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No, no quiero. Cállate. No quiero.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
No sé si hacerle caso.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Yo lo estoy haciendo mal.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Ya la cagué.
Now, let's see, we went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way. No, this isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Eso lo han despedido.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Mierda. Busquemos la historia. Es un bucle. Espera. Fuck.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before.
LOL.
Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Shit.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
LOL.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong.
Ya me he
It's
cargado el
possible the
juego.
story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything? Aha! I knew we'd missed something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Genial.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put
Sí.
in a lot of hard work, and it really
Qué
paid
bien.
off. So, good job.
Bro.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Otra vez no.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ni siquiera voy a mirar dónde voy.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
¿Qué? What? LOL. ¿Dónde voy?
Cut the music, go back, and look at that fern. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Otra vez no.
Oh, No, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Ah. Restart.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction? Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Esto es un bucle. Sí. He vuelto.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine. Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important, we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute. Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
LOL.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Confusion ending 46.
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination, so I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you do happen to have a...
What? Vale. Lo he desbloqueado. No puedes saltar. Es verdad. Llevo todo el juego dándole saltar.
All of his
Al juego.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Esta vez le voy a hacer caso, a ver qué pasa.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
O si no hago nada, en plan, me quedo aquí. Calidad. Sigo dándole la tecla de saltar, tío, pero no se puede saltar. Voy a hacer caso.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Tacle.
Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Oh no, las escaleras.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't, yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Loading, 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 loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Escapar. Escapar.
Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe it couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Sí. ¿Qué ha pasado?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Preciosos gráficos.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Oh, qué bonito. Completar el juego. Sí, sí. Y otra vez.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Y otra vez. Y otra vez.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No. Vale, tío.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not.
Ya me.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
¿El logro desbloqueado? Ah, no hay logro.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Otra vez.
But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful. The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Nice. Acabo de romper el juego. Ah. Me había emocionado.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story is... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red... Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Está oscuro, no veo nada.
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
No, yo estoy feliz.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. No! Oh, no. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
Sí.
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all just laugh and laugh at the time I thought everyone had gone missing. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Vale, venga.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
¿Por quién es?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might find an answer coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
No.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office.
Lol.
I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my
Voy a
voice?
morir.
Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
What?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
LOL.
But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought...
Shit. Leo sin querer a la Windows.
lucky she was to be normal.
LOL.
I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Vale. Aquí mis amigos me dicen que vaya a general.
Te ha costado.
Hola, chavales.
Tío, ¿sabes lo que voy a hacer? Vamos a hacer doble streaming, tío.
Doble
Yo voy a hacer
streaming.
streaming en Twitch. Sí, sí, yo voy a hacer streaming en
Espera,
Twitch.
Stanley
cállate,
decided to go to the
cállate.
meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Que el narrador está hablando. Está haciendo mi directo.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Estaba viendo
he
tu
entered the
directo, pero
door
es que
on his
después
left.
estuve
This
buscando
was
cómo
not the correct way to the
espérate.
meeting room.
Pero es que después
Stanley
dije,
knew
mira,
it
¿sabes qué voy a hacer?
perfectly
Yo también voy a hacer directo
Perhaps
de
he wanted to
YouTube.
stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
For her.
This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself.
Ni idea.
To put your work aside. To let her back into your life.
Espérate, tengo una...
She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley.
Toma, lo
Oh,
desconecto.
no, you can't. Did you just
pues sí.
unplug the phone? No, that
Sí.
wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly? I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check. No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley.
¿Se
You're
ha dado
a real
cuenta que no soy una
person.
persona? Estáis dando.
I can't believe I was so mistaken.
Que no
This is
soy
why you've been
Stanley,
able to
se ha dado
make correct
cuenta.
and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation? Well, I won't have that kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
Choice.
Choice.
It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous.
Streamear.
For
Hostia,
example,
pues sí.
in
eso
this
puede
scenario,
streamear.
a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third world nations. Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house.
Lol.
Which choice would you make? Remember
¿Qué pasó?
that
¿Qué
unlike
pasó?
here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Practice. No.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially insignificant, and the feeling should subside. At this time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
Voy a llamar a mi streaming MK Streaming 2.0.
Spam, spam. No, qué cabrones. Han puesto.
Now that we know your choices are
Oh, yeah.
meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
Ah, amigo.
De puta madre, estoy entero. Creo. La te voy a comprar. Ah, no. Oye, ¿puedes entrar
Almost
a
there.
Twitch para ver si
You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending. The
Oye.
story will have resolution once again, and you'll be
Oye.
home free in the
Espera.
real
Denny.
world.
Espera. ¿Qué?
Now
Puedes
remember,
entrar,
all you need to do
puedes
is
entrar
behave
a-
exactly as Stanley would.
a Twitch
That
para ver
means
si estoy
choosing
directo.
responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
No voy a hacer
Denny.
nada, a ver qué pasa. ¿Qué pasa?
Puedes entrar a Twitch para ver si estoy en directo, joder.
Vale. ¿Cuál es tu canal? Y el spam.
Se llama The Real Gogeta God XD.
¿Qué?
Se llama The Real Gogeta God. The Real Gogeta God. Porque es que alguien se había cogido mi nombre, por eso. Yo creía que era único, pero en realidad no.
Gogueta con una G, ¿no?
Sí, sí. Gogeta con G. Y con 2 Cs.
2 Gs.
2 T. O sea, mi nombre no. Pero le añades
pasa el
el
enlace.
de Real.
Ya
Vale.
lo sé.
Espera, te lo paso. Espera.
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
¿Cómo se hace eso aquí? Ah, no, mira, puedo ver aquí. Espérate,
Lol.
te voy a enviar el enlace. ¿Cómo carajos se envía el...
Yo me quedo aquí. La puerta no se cierra, bueno.
Oye, no sé cómo enviar.
It's ruined. I can't believe
Oye, no sé
after
cómo
everything we
enviarte el
talked about that
enlace.
my story,
¿Cómo
you've
lo hago?
destroyed my work. Why?
Oye.
For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game
Joder,
undone,
tío, me cago
left
en
here like
todo.
so much garbage? It's worthless
¿Estás
now.
escuchando?
And what am I supposed to do?
Espera,
Even if there
que-
were a
tío,
way to
estoy haciendo la
continue, would it be
historia.
worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever. Reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
Shit.
Vale, te voy a enviar mi canal de
¿Qué
Twitch.
está
Lo voy a enviar por el
pasando?
grupo, ¿vale?
Oh, I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You, who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you
He
think that would be
destruido el
funny?
juego.
You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important
Vale,
it
pero
was to
puedes,
be like
oye,
Stanley?
en
He
mi
actually
canal
knows how to
por
do
el
what I tell him
grupo,
to. He understands that if I say to
el canal
do
de
something, there's a
Vale.
Miras
damn
que
good
estoy en
reason
directo,
for it.
por favor.
That thought hadn't even
Obviamente
occurred to
estarás en
you,
mi
had
directo,
it?
¿sabes?
That there's a world
Ya,
outside
pero
of you?
quiero
You're
comprobar
a
si está,
child.
está bien, ¿sabes? Si se escucha el juego y todo eso.
My story. If you'd just gone through the
Pues
door on
sí.
the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility.
Sí.
You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked
Vale,
so
de puta
hard on
madre.
it. I tried so hard. Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right.
A tomar por culo.
When Stanley came to a
A
set
tomar
of two
por
open
culo.
doors, he entered the door on his left.
No.
No! Why did you do that?
Iván
Quickly,
dice
hurry.
que se va a ir a bañar y todo eso y
Just
que
behave
volverá
exactly as
espera.
Stanley would.
como a las
That
10.
means choosing
Mira,
responsibly
mira mi
and
directo,
always
tú.
putting the story
Me estoy cargando el
first.
juego.
I'm quite sure you'll be
Del
up to the
todo.
task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All
Es que
right.
estoy jugando.
When
Estoy
Stanley
haciendo mi
came to a
propio
set of
directo,
two
¿sabes?
open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
No.
Is behave exactly as
Pobrecito, nadie
Stanley
está
would.
viendo tu directo.
That means choosing responsibly
Ni el
and
tuyo.
always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be
A
up
mí
to
me
the
da igual, yo
task.
era, yo era
Just
no.
follow my
un
lead and
youtuber
you'll be
famoso.
fine. All right. When
Famoso.
Stanley
Sin
came to a
suscriptores.
set of two open doors, he
No.
entered the door on his
Ya,
left.
bueno, uno de mis vídeos tiene más de 30.000 visitas, así que
creo que
medio
No!
famoso.
Why did you do that? Quickly,
Pues
hurry.
eso.
Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry.
Si cierro el juego, ¿qué pasa?
Is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story
pero ¿de qué se
first.
trata en sí
I'm
este
quite sure
juego,
you'll
Juan?
be up to the
Ese juego
task. Just follow my lead and you'll be
sí,
fine.
lo he puesto en el
All
título.
right.
El juego de romper la
When
cuarta pared.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors,
Ah, vale.
he entered the door on his left.
Si cierro el juego se dará cuenta, ¿sabes? Como Undertale. Cerrar el juego. A ver qué pasa.
Sí, tío, se ve ahí tu PC. Se ve ahí tu...
Mi PC. A ver, a ver si ahora qué
Tío,
pasa
pero
si-
ponlo no, o sea... Tío, o sea,
Ya.
tu streaming ponlo bien, tío. Configúralo bien, cabrón, que se ve como un
Pues-
puto cubo, no se ve pantalla completa.
Porque así es el juego. El juego está hecho así.
Ah, vale.
El juego es antiguo, es del 2013.
Cojones.
Se ha quedado así, ¿eh? LOL.
Vale.
Me he cargado el juego de verdad. Bueno, chavales, espero que les haya gustado mi directo. Aquí se termina.
Sí, mira mi directo mientras, ya que estás.
No. ¿Tú te oyes en mi directo?
No creo.
Sí, creo que sí.